and welcome back to WRPB and WRPB Studios. If you missed the first half, or whatever, of this interview, with me is Frank McKinney. Did I get that right?
Yes, you did.
I'm old and I forget. And Frank's been on 2 years ago with me, and he's really, I don't mean it's bad, but he's an interesting character, and he's always welcome back here because he has so much of knowledge of what it's like to go from basically nothing to something, and the ability to overcome adversity, which takes me to what we were talking about before we ended the last segment, which is your book.
Mm-hmm.
Adversitology.
Think theology or biology, but adversitology.
Well, I have a handyman I work with, and he's a handyologist.
Okay.
So he took that name.
I'm an adversitologist.
And it's great when you can make up a name that kind of means something. Like Jack Schulman.
Mm-hmm. Very well.
Okay, so Jack and I are good friends.
Yeah.
We're in the same industry. We've been good friends forever. We coined the phrase co-opetition. Because if you're in an industry, there's enough for everybody.
Yeah.
As long as the person's nice, you'll do stuff with them. If they're not, you just totally avoid them because it's just bad juju, and you don't want to deal with that. So you write this book, and basically, it's from stuff. All your books, basically, I guess, are stuff that came through in your life, correct?
Well, 8 books in 6 genres. So my first book was a philosophical book, Make It Big. My publisher said, that's great, you fancy yourself a philosopher, why don't you write about real estate? Because that you know about. So my second book was Frank McKinney's maverick approach to real estate success, how to go from a $50,000 fixer-upper to a $50 million mansion. That did well. Then I jumped into spirituality with a book called The Tap, which is an expansion on that passage that we spoke about in the last segment, to whom much is entrusted, much is required, to whom much is given, much is expected. Then I did Young Reader Fantasy, Dead Fred Flying Lunchboxes in the Good Luck Circle, that was competed with Potter, Twilight, Hunger, Narnia games. That book did really well. Then I did another real estate book called Burst This, Frank McKinney's Bubble-Proof Real Estate Strategies. Just as it said, that's just like, if you want to know how to invest in real estate, that's everything I know that I've applied over the 30 years. And then I went to Christian Romance, which was a little edgy for the Christian reader, and it was not edgy enough for the secular reader, so that one didn't sell too well. And then we went to Aspire, which is mindset, right?
You were here for that one.
That book is still selling really well. Aspire, how to create your own reality and alter your DNA. And then we went into, this is kind of a mindset / memoir, because it's
your life.
It took place, this is the illness I was diagnosed with on the day the country was shut down with COVID. And if you missed the first segment, I was diagnosed with chronic myeloid leukemia on March 11, 2020. It was a death sentence. And as I got through that adversity, I decided to, because I love to write a book, a short book, with a program, a 9-step program, a plan for you, if you're going through a financial, physical, spiritual, relational adversity, how to get through it quicker and with less pain.
You know, just to interject here, Frank is here through adversity because it's not long ago that you had 2 new knees.
Yeah, 3 weeks ago I had both my knees replaced.
Okay. Now, we're probably, I don't know, 40 miles, 50 miles? I don't know how far we are, but from Delray to Port St. Lucie. And through adversity, here you come, popping through the door, and getting through that adversity. And I had 2 strokes in less than 3 months. And 3 days after my surgery, I was out at a ribbon cutting with the chamber. For me, and I don't know if it's the same for you, like people said to me, "What are you doing out? You should be home resting." For me, healing is here.
Yeah.
As well as the physical. It's very important that your mental health is strong to heal.
Right.
Okay? Now, you've been through the leukemia thing, so the knee thing is really a walk in the park.
Yeah, there's nothing compares.
It's
when you
barely a walk.
Yeah, you're life-threatened, you're going to die, the doctor says. And the knees were elective. I'm an ultra-marathon runner, so I've run races over 100 miles, multiple races. I got 40,000 miles. I had 40,000 miles on my old knees. Now I got new knees, so I'm starting all over.
Will you run again? Is that...
I had a doctor who basically did a robotic surgery in a way that will allow me to run again.
Interesting. But you're getting you're getting older.
Yeah, so what? You know, I listen, I'm going to do it until I can't.
Right.
Why do you want to, like, I run this race called the Badwater Ultramarathon. It's the toughest foot race in the world according to National Geographic. Not my claim, National Geographic's claim. 135 miles in the Death Valley Desert in July,
Wow.
nonstop in 125 degree air temperature when the pavement's over 200 degrees. There's only 100 people that are invited to that race every year. 26 countries were at the start line this year. 26 different countries. I've run that race 12 times. I've succeeded 7. I failed 5. I would love to be the first to run it with new knees. I'm never going to say never. I never say never to anything, as long as it's not self-destructive. But you know, it's a blessing and a curse. But I go to sleep every night with a ton of hope. I may have those hopes shattered the next day, but if the slate is clean, when I go to bed, I wake up and I got hope that maybe today will be the day. Listen, I got a pretty big following with all my readers, you know, a couple 100,000 people on social, and I've been taking them through my recovery in real time. A week after my surgery, I went a mile on my crutches. It took me 37 minutes.
Okay, I saw that.
So you see, but people have their own adversities. Okay, so I got nothing going on here, but I'm out there at 3 a.m. pulling myself across the bridge with the tire behind me. Doctor knew it. PT person knew it. I cleared it with them. So, and I think if you watch that, I told anybody watching this who's going to tell me, don't do that, you better slow down, you better go back to bed. Like, don't tell me that, because you can't do it. The people who tell you you shouldn't are the people who can't.
You know, lesson well learned, because in 2010, when I had a lung illness and I lost 40% of my lung function, I was on my deathbed for 28 days, and I wanted to die. I wanted to give up, okay? And I lost 26 pounds in less than 2 weeks. I get out of the hospital. Finally, they figure out what's wrong. I have a very rare lung illness. They figure out how to fix it, but of course I can't get back the lungs that I lost. And they said, all right, we're going to send you to rehab, physical therapy. And I was a lot younger, probably as stupid as I am now, and I said, no, I don't need it. No, I don't need physical therapy. So I didn't take any. Thought I could do this by myself. I ended up taking my dog out. I fell in the parking lot, and I couldn't get up. My legs wouldn't I just didn't have the strength. I had to crawl to a car and use my arms to lift me.
Yeah, always do your PT.
So, well, now when I had the stroke, and I was in I lost this whole arm. My whole right arm was just hanging there. Couldn't move it, do anything with it. And I was lucky enough to get a shot called a TPA shot, which is the miracle drug for strokes. You have to get it within like an hour. I got it within 15 minutes, so I was blessed. And slowly some feeling came back, and I could move it a little bit, couldn't lift it all the way up, surely couldn't turn it. So they said, all right, we're going to send you to rehab. And I'm saying, I'm going. This time I learned my lesson. And I get to rehab, and they said, what's your goal? My arm was moving a little bit. And I said, well, when I can give drivers the finger with this hand, I know I'm healing. Okay. And I stayed 3.5 days, 3 hours a day of OT, because I didn't need physical therapy because I was walking okay.
Right.
But I'm blessed that I did that, because I can do all the things I want to do. I have some issues left because it's only 2.5 months, 3 months. But on a whole, if you go through adversity, that kind of adversity, physical therapy, occupational therapy is super, super important.
Absolutely.
You know, don't take it upon yourself. So you're going to physical therapy, how often?
Well, I've had a guy come into the house,
Okay.
like every other day, and then I took him to my gym and had him show me. Most of the time when you go through PT, they're there to motivate you, to get out of bed, to get your knees moved. I don't need to be motivated. Show me what to do and how to do it and what not to do, and I can do it myself. So I'm pretty much done with the PT guy. Show me what to do and not do.
Well, you're not done with PT. You're done with the PT guy.
Yeah. No, I'm doing PT until listen. It's the first time I've been able to put jeans on because my knees were so swollen. But I'm gonna be active in my recovery, right? We're gonna be active, and I want to show people, yes, I was out of bed in a week, and I was out there on the crutches, and then 2 weeks later, I was able to go like 26-minute miles. I did 4 miles this morning before I came here. Look at the post. I think I even mentioned you in the post that was coming up here. I did 5 miles in under 20-minute miles. So as a 3 miles an hour, I'm able to go, and I freaking had new knees 3 weeks ago.
Did you do it with crutches?
Today I did not.
Canes?
Nope.
You
I
just
did it.
walked.
I did.
Right, and you came in with canes, but
Yeah, they're a little sore from this
the
morning.
canes sat there on the couch while you walked around the studio.
Right.
So I get it that your mindset is, I'm going to do this and I'm going to push myself because this is my blessing to heal, and I'm going to get to that point, and I'm not going to let it hold me back.
That's right. The message I delivered this morning while I was filming this little 5-mile thing, I don't see my knee replacement now as any form of adversity. It's all opportunity. It's an opportunity. The vibrational frequency with which I was using out there, meaning the energy I was putting into my workout or whatever this morning, wasn't about rehabilitating something that was old. It was building strength in something that was new. So that, to me, there's a big difference. Inside every adversity is an opportunity. And for me, the opportunity is I want to run again. I want to race again. I don't want to just go to the end of my driveway and get my mail.
Is that, like, I joked and said, I know I'm healed or healing when I can give other drivers a finger. It's a very simple goal, but
It's a goal.
right. And I needed, because I couldn't turn my hand, I couldn't, and the goals change as you move forward. Okay, so you did 3 miles, then you want to do 8 miles, then you want to do 20 miles, then you want to do 50 miles. For me, I've gotten almost all my strength back in my hand. But I have essential tremors in my fingers, which could take 6 months to a year. But you know what? I take the putty that they gave me, and I take it out of the container in my office. I have one in my office and one at my house, and I squeeze it. I put coins in it, because that's what they made me do, and they made me use my one hand to maneuver the putty and find the coins and pull out the coins.
That's good. That's good.
Okay, to get the dexterity back. I find myself using my computer, and sometimes my fingers will fall off the keys. So that becomes another goal moving forward. If you have no goals, you're going to end up going nowhere, and you're going to kind of just sit in that, for lack of a better word, that bad space.
Mm-hmm.
So this book is quite short compared to what you've written.
Yeah.
And it's a simple read.
I wanted it to be an easy read or an easy audible listen, like 6.5 hours on Audible.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's really quick. That's quick for Audible. My last book was like 14 hours.
Oh. So.
And I narrate it, by the way. So I'm the narrator. If you do the Audible, my wife and myself, and my daughter narrate this.
When I get through the book to the end, what am I going to learn?
Okay, so the Y chapter, which is the final chapter, Adversity, spells the word adversity. The Y chapter is the chapter I drive it home and I say, why not you? Why not you to overcome whatever adversity, physical, financial, or relational, that you're suffering from? You referenced before, when you were talking about the progress you were making with your hand, that you had a goal. To me, and if I could digress to my prior book, Aspire, motivation washes off and goes down the drain with the soap at night. We as humans cannot stay motivated. We're not wired to stay motivated. That's why there's a multi-billion-dollar industry out there built around motivational gurus and motivational books. We can't stay motivated. Quit beating yourself up over the fact that you can't stay motivated. Inspiration. Okay, inspiration lasts about as long as a bad sunburn. So I can read an inspirational book, watch an inspirational movie, 2 weeks later I've forgotten everything. I don't use the word goals. I have aspirations. Aspirations are like the Fabergé egg. They are sacred. I aspired to be a best-selling author 20 plus years ago, coming out of high school with a 1.8 GPA and 7 stints in juvenile detention. I aspired to run the toughest foot race in the world when I was one step away from the couch potato. I aspired to build villages in the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. You see, I may not wake up every day motivated to train or motivated to run the charity in Haiti or inspired to do it, but I don't lose sight of the aspiration to do so. So if you got a copy of Aspire, the subtitle, How to Create Your Own Reality and Alter Your DNA, in the very first section of the book, I ask you the question. There's 25 chapters. Two of them are posed in the form of a question. What legacy do you aspire to leave behind? What legacy do you aspire to leave behind? And that is where you will find. Being an author, having a family was one of my aspirations because mine was kind of busted. I wasn't a great family. I'm 33 years married, man. I wanted to be a good father, a good husband. I wanted to, to be an author. I wanted to be an artist, but I can't sing, I can't sculpt, I can't paint, but I can build three-dimensional art. That's aspiration. I've only aspired a handful of things in my life. So stop beating yourself up over the fact you can't stay motivated or inspired. Find out that otherworldly burning passion for your purpose. That's where your aspirations, plural, will lie. And if it's as simple as I'm not going to do it. Give the finger, give the finger to the people passing by. You can. That's good. You've set an aspiration and you're doing it.
Okay, so what happens? Okay, so let's go back to using the word goal for a second. One of my dreams was, obviously, I talk because I have a station and I've done 70,000 interviews.
7,001.
70,002.
7,002.
And the other guy here. One of the things I always wanted to do was get on stage and do 2 minutes of shtick comedy. And yet, as much as I can talk in front of groups, and I talk in front of groups about sexual abuse and domestic violence, I still can't, and I talk here, I still can't do that.
You could do that. I mean, I could just see, just with your demeanor, the way that you do, even the message you just said about your goal was to give the finger. I mean, that's funny.
I thought it was what I was saying.
And from what I have heard from other speakers, like people I look up to, that's the ultimate challenge for them is they go try stand-up to hone their skills and their confidence as speakers. I don't think I'm very funny. I can't imagine doing it. You either have a funny bone or you don't. You do. So that should be an aspiration that you do before you die.
The funny thing is that this was never per se my calling. I got on I was moved here. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was selling cell phones with a friend of mine. We worked for a company. My dad used to listen to a disc jockey. He said, "You should go and advertise on that guy's show." I said, "Better than advertise, I'm going to go on that guy's show." He wanted $400. I asked the boss, and the boss said no. So what do? You find a different way. Well, I called AAA, and I said, "Look, I want to do a piece on this guy's show about cell phone safety. You be half, and we pay." And that's how it went. We walked off there. We said, my friend and I said, "We got to do this." I bought the time. 1 hour a week. 3 years later, we bought another hour. 3 months later, we quit our $70,000 a year jobs 30 years ago, and bought another hour. And we were doing this like 4 hours a week. And something happened. He left. I stayed. It was what it was. And the ironic part about the whole scenario is that I had the knack to make people feel very comfortable when all they wanted to do was think about what they saw on TV and how scripted it was and what questions you're going to ask. I don't have a question to ask. It's going to be a train wreck because I'm here to entertain, because you entertain and you inform underneath. Every rabbi, priest, minister, they all have to be entertainers. Otherwise, you'll just walk out. So for me, I get this thing about when people interview with me, and I've never met them, I didn't know anything about them, which is a Larry King style per se. And then they leave here happy, and they want to do work with us, and they want to work with us. The guy that was just here before you, man, it was tough for him. He was sweating up a storm, okay, and it was dripping down his nose, okay, and I'm like, okay, but yet he's going to work with us moving forward.
Yeah.
And I made him feel comfortable. So I have the inspiration to do what I do, and I want to be best at what I do, and yet there's always going to be people within your wheelhouse that are scared of taking you on. Like initially I wanted to be famous, and I wanted to be on a local radio. No one would hire me. Now I'm 70,000 interviews later, and I'm still doing it, and a lot of the people that were DJs back then are out of work, and I'm blessed that I get to do the interviews I get to do, and it's a give back to me. Like, this is disseminating information that's so important in my eyes.
Yeah.
And if it helps one person,
right,
you've succeeded.
Right.
And that's how I see it. And look, I was amazed when I said, well, when you feel better, you can come up here. Because you're only like 3 weeks out of your surgery, and I said, yeah, I'll be up there tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm like,
no,
oh
I'm
my
not gonna
God.
pass up an opportunity to be here. I mean, come on.
Okay, so it's like, okay, we'll get him up here. All right. Is there a book in the future? in your
Oh,
mind?
sure. There'll be another book. I mean, but to write two in like 2.5 years, I need. There's Aspire still has plenty of legs, so I got to let that run. This one we just got done touring. Typically, when you're done touring, the sales pick up. So yeah, there'll be a ninth one. I'm sure there will be. I don't know what it'll be, but there'll be another one.
Okay, so I have ADHD. I always wanted to write a book. My life is a book with everything I've been through.
Yeah, everybody has a book in them. You should
Right.
write a story.
But I don't have the patience to sit there and write a story. But you can get a ghostwriter, I guess.
You can get help. You can get a collaborator. Listen, for those of you who are watching who want to write a book, the perfect length of a book is 180 to 200 pages. If you wrote a half a page a day for a year, 365 divided by 2, half a page is 180. You could write a book in a year. And some days you're going to write more pages, some days you're going to write less. But if you average a half a page, which is basically a couple paragraphs, right? You can write a book. In school, we're taught read, read, read. And I'm all for reading. Of course, you got to read to buy one of my books. But
Right.
I do a lot of encouraging kids to write, because writing engages parts of the synapses of the brain that reading does not.
Okay, so do I
Very proactive.
sit there with a pad and write?
No, with your schedule.
Or do I?
Here's how I write a book. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. I come up with a title first.
Right.
Okay, it's very critical. I come up with a title. Then I come up with a subtitle. Then I will spend months coming up with this image. I haven't written a word yet. I designed the book cover with my graphic artist. You go to look at all my book covers, they are like movie posters. Once I've done that, then on the back side of the book, you'll see there's a little description. I write that next. Then I do a chapter outline. Once I design this and come up with a title, I have that sitting in front of me, just like it's sitting in front of you. And as I'm typing, I'm trying to deliver on I want to deliver on the promise of the title in every word I write. So, Adversitology, overcoming adversity when you're hanging on by a thread. Somebody who's going to pick this up is going through some adversity.
Everybody.
So I want to deliver on the promise of the title. That's why I write the title first, I design the cover first, I do the blurb on the back first, because that's your sales material, and then I write.
Okay, interesting. All right, I'm going to let you go. I know you have a long drive, and we've already done like almost an hour, which I almost never do. No, I don't almost never do it. I never do it. But it's always great having you up here. You're so far away, and now even further because...
We'll have to wait for another book, I guess.
No, I don't know that we want to wait for another book. We'll wait for you.
When you get close to 100,000, let me be your 100,000th guest. That would be kind of cool. And now I'm going to leave everybody, with something. Listen, you're going to have regrets in life. Mm-hmm. You're going to have them. I would rather regret what I did, not what I didn't do. Don't regret not trying comedy. You can regret doing it. You go up there and you bomb and nobody laughs, but at least you tried it.
Right.
If you never try it,
I won't
that's the worst kind of regret.
So I'll try, but I won't tell anybody where I'm at.
But at least you try it for yourself.
Yeah, I know I should do it, and I really have nothing to be afraid of because I speak in front of people all the time. And when I speak in front of groups about sexual abuse, and sometimes I flop because I don't have anything scripted. And sometimes it's an amazing, I leave there and I go, oh my God, this is amazing. Someone will come over to me and say, I don't know how you do it, blah, blah, blah. And they go through a whole thing about how inspired they were from what I said. And that's pretty amazing. But sometimes I think about when I just ramble.
Well, we'll turn the tables. When I come back, I'll interview about how it was being on stage as a comedian for the first time.
I think it's a pleasure.
All
You
right,
need to
thank you.
stay healthy. Everybody, check out the book. Where do you get
This
the
is
book?
for you. This is,
Okay.
I got
Where
my
do you
lucky
get the
pen.
book?
Go to adversitology.com, read the sample chapters, listen to the free chapters on Audible, and then you can buy it wherever you want.
Everybody,
Amazon, or buy it from us, or what bookstore.
Everybody, his stuff is really pretty amazing, and his life story is pretty amazing. So I love having him on. It's just that I have to drag him here. But with that, it was well worth it. Everybody, have a great day. We'll be right back.
That's the audience laughing at your jokes. See, I put a little smiley face in there to get you
That
reminded
shows
to go.
that you don't lie, because he said he can't. He's not an artist. He can't draw. Everybody, have a great day. We'll be right back.